Welcome back everyone to the festive advent calendar that is your daily Formula 1 2019 driver reviews, and today we have an absolute meme lord, the milkman himself, Lando Norris, our second rookie we have covered in 2019, our first driver for McLaren, our first British driver we're going to cover, and what a rookie year it's been. We've had some serious highs, but ultimately some serious lows, and Lando has finished the season in P11, and that last lap overtake from Sergio Perez has cost him a place in the top 10. And whilst, to be honest with you, that move in itself, Lando got caught sleeping a little bit, but I think it was a real picture of the entire season for Lando Norris, that there's been some real signs of promise and some real performances of brilliance, I feel, in 2019. There's also been some real moments of horrid luck. I think one of the more unlucky drivers in 2019. And on the surface, it's not a fantastic season in terms of the gap to his teammate Carlos Sainz. But when you consider 12 months ago, Norris coming in as a rookie, and over the winter, I was sceptical. I felt he should have had another season in Formula 2 to learn and develop and come into Formula 1 instead of replacing an Alonso and a Van Dorn. That was already a bit of a toxic atmosphere, I think it's fair to say. That was around McLaren at the end of last season. But what a turnaround it's been, not only from Sainz, but from Lando themselves. That fresh bit of energy, that bit of youth was in the team, I think's really helped them in 2019. Definitely my team of the year. The incredible not only performance upgrade they've had from the previous year, but just general vibe within the team, without sounding too silly. And I definitely think the two drivers, Lando with his, I don't even know how you would describe his humour, but just that bit of youth, that bit of cheekiness within the team is something McLaren, I feel, has definitely been missing over the past few years. And yes, Alonso is brilliant with all his memes, but the stress he brings and just that bit of fresh air, I think's definitely helped out the team. And considering this is Lando's first year in Formula 1, I think for me, this has got to be one of the best rookie performances I've seen in a very long time. Don't get me wrong, Charles Leclerc last year probably pips it a little bit, but those two, for me, very, very impressive. I mean, you guys know how much I was buzzing about Charles Leclerc last year, and having a similar sort of vibe about Lando Norris this year. On the surface, this is your McLaren head-to-head statistics. As we all know, in that final weekend of the season, it was Norris that just took over Carlos Sainz, beating him 11-10. Very, very close. But it's in the races where Sainz seemed to have the edge. 13-8 Carlos. Point battle, you can see Carlos Sainz comfortably ahead. 96 for Sainz, 49 for Norris. Sainz, obviously, that incredible season he has had, finished 6th overall. Norris 11th, but as I said, it was so painful for him on the last lap of the season. But Perez himself had a brilliant end to 2019 and ended up P10. Norris's statistics look a little bit like this. As for most of the drivers in 2019, no wins, no pole positions, no podiums. However, his teammate Carlos Sainz was able to snatch one in the Brazilian Grand Prix at the end of the season. 49 points, as we just mentioned, and 11th in the standings. Qualifying best, 2 5th places, coming back-to-back, actually, in Monaco. Incredible. In Monaco. And Canada as well. And his best race performance, 2 6th places, coming fairly early on in the 2019 season, in his second race, actually, in Formula 1 in Bahrain. And then a few races later in Austria as well. Second half of the season got 2 7th places, but as we know, and as I've kind of been avoiding it, but his bad luck this year has been insane. That race in Belgium probably was his best of the season, I feel, comfortably best of the rest, and Carlos Sainz had a brilliant drive in that race, but qualifying didn't go as well for him, starting near the back, if I remember, and had to work his way through. But Norris 5th for almost the entirety of the Grand Prix. What a massive points haul that would have been for him. And yet on the very last lap of the race, engine failure, no points. We saw a similar story in Canada, leading that midfield, and the brakes melted. I mean, when do you ever see brakes melting in Formula 1? China with a few laps to go, retired from the Grand Prix. We've also got races like Germany. What an amazing opportunity for someone like Lando Norris to get a podium or just a big haul of points. However, it wasn't him crashing out on that day like so many experienced drivers were doing in that Grand Prix. It was a car failure. I mean, of all the races for your car to break down in Germany, you just feel for him. And then there's races like Silverstone, his home Grand Prix, where he qualified best of the rest. Throughout the Grand Prix, he was best of the rest. But for some reason, they did a 2-stop for Lando Norris ridiculously late on. I think it was to do with the tyres, actually, on that particular performance. But really late on, did a 2nd stop and then ended up with no points whatsoever. But he was ahead of that midfield for almost the entirety of the Grand Prix. Mexico as well, that ridiculously slow stop and eventual, well, retirement from the race. It's lots and lots of races like that over the season that has really hurt him. So when you consider all of that, and then you consider he was just a couple of points off the top 10, really puts it into perspective the year he's had. And actually, I was going through some of the more in detail qualifying statistics over 2019, and Lando Norris has the 7th best qualifying average position on the entire grid, beating Sainz, beating Ricciardo, beating Albon, who was obviously with Red Bull a little bit late on. But I really didn't expect that. And okay, that Red Bull switch has skewed it a little bit. I mean, Norris is on average 9.38, so 9th place overall, which doesn't sound too brilliant. But when you consider how congested that midfield was in 2019, I think that's really impressive for Lando. And again, of all of that I've just spoke about, it's very strange to think that this is only his first year in Formula 1, that I was very critical that he was being rushed into Formula 1 potentially. And from that very first race in Melbourne, okay, he didn't score points, but getting into Q3 at his first attempt, I think he was P8, P7 on the grid? In your first race for McLaren, considering the past few years they had, what a brilliant start that was. And I think definitely in 2019, for me, he's been the Rookie of the Year. For me, without that bad luck, I think he'd be right there with Carlos Sainz. So helping McLaren secure 4th overall, I'm giving Lando Norris an 8 out of 10. Just wait to see what I give Carlos Sainz if you want a real surprise. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below. Over the next few days, I'm not going to be here actually, but don't worry. Daily Christmas videos will be coming out. A driver every single day, and on Wednesday I'm going to be reacting to my 2019 predictions. It's a bit of a shocker, so if you want to laugh, that should be a good one. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. If you're new around here and you're just needing that bit of craving for Formula 1 at the moment, feel free to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.